Hi, and welcome back to Family Sociology. And now we're going to look at the second time around. In the past, most step families were formed after the death of a spouse. Today, most remarriages follow a divorce, so the ex-partner and possibly children from the former relationship are still present. There may be a continuing interaction between individuals formerly married to each other. Children move between their two families for visits or for changes in custody, and both parents may be responsible for their financial support. As a result, there are new demands and strains placed on stepfamilies. This chapter looks at challenges facing stepfamilies and how they can meet these challenges. Much depends on the interaction and hallmark of everything involving relationships, communication between all members. The wider social context can also facilitate or hinder stepfamily adaptation. So let's look at stepfamilies in Canada. Stepfamilies, by definition, is a family where the children are related to one but not the other. Partner, that is. So in 2011, stepfamilies represented 1 in 8 couples with children. That's about 12.6% of the family population. More than half were simple families. So there's two types of stepfamilies. There's the simple stepfamily where all children are related to one parent but not the other. The rest are part of what's termed complex stepfamilies. Complex stepfamily variations variations of the stepfamily form are also known as a blended family. If you check out infographic 11.1 for some data on the proportion of stepfamily types. In the past, death of a spouse was the primary way stepfamilies were created. Today, more a result of separation and divorce, this trend is also affected by some other issues. Issues such as how long a life expectancy. It's less likely that people would be widowed at a young age. So after the passing of the Divorce Act in 1968 and the amendments made in 1985, there was a huge increase in divorce after these acts. And with more common law relationships, they tend to be less stable than married couples, thus an increased turnover of relationships. Stepfamilies, blended families, have less established social norms on how to be. Therefore, they have been forming a new family system. Now, there are social norms for nuclear families, but less so for stepfamilies. The growing together in stepfamilies can take many years. Needs to establish who does what are the responsibilities or the roles, and establishing family identity. Now, there are some stages of stepfamily formation, and we're going to look at 3. It's very important to note that with every separation and divorce, each person needs to first have a healthy, established emotional distance from their former partner before entering or exploring any new relationship. One of the main differences between first marriages and second or later ones involves family boundaries. And there are 3 distinct stages entering and adapting to a second marriage. First is entering a new relationship. Second is planning a new family. And the third is forming the stepfamily. And we're going to look at each of these a little bit more carefully. Entering the new relationship, here we are looking at the physical and emotional divorce is complete. Physical, you're out of the relationship. One, physical out of the home. And the emotional support, you don't harbor ill for the person that you've just divorced. You're ready to have a fresh relationship without baggage from the other one entering this new relationship. So that's got to be first. Physical and emotional divorce is complete first. As anger is a significant link to one's ex, then one can work towards and consider committing to a new relationship. This is crucial to success in any new relationship. Be done with one before starting another. This is one reason stepfamilies may not succeed. Okay, the second step, planning a new marriage and family. And again, I'm going to come back to it. Open and honest communication is essential. Expressing your likes and dislikes, new in-laws, relationship with exes, instant family is created. Child or children's relationships with the other family, it can be complicated. All the more importance to work at open and honest communication. Third, forming the remarriage family, where you're renegotiating new boundaries and new rules about who does what. New or existing rituals and routines and traditions are being established. How do we celebrate holidays? What do we do for birthdays, anniversaries, Christmas, things like that? Step family types, if you look at table 11.1 in your textbook, it identifies 3 types of step families based on a 10-year longitudinal study. Very useful information. And as mentioned in the forming a remarriage family stage of the step family formation, as I mentioned, new boundaries, roles are needed to be renegotiated. Boundaries are really important in establishing who belongs in the family and who doesn't. It creates our family identity. This includes creating traditions, rituals, holidays, birthdays, all aimed at creating how we will be, connections within the family, and the creation of family stories. It's what makes us, us, and you, you. The idea is not to mimic the first marriage family. It needs to encourage open boundaries. Those boundaries in that other family in our past, when it involves our children, need to be permeable boundaries, allowing children to move from one family to another family with the least amount of strain. Now, related is what's known as boundary ambiguity. This occurs when there is a lack of clarity about what each member's role in the family is. In many step families, this can be there can be for the children 2 mothers and 2 fathers. Who does what, when, where, and how? Remarriage can promote boundary ambiguity as a result of custody, visitation loyalties. Finances, often separate, can be a source of stress. Authority over children, household rules, discipline, all very important issues in reforming of a family. We've mentioned roles. Let's review that a bit. One of the main difficulties in step families is that there are too many candidates for the available roles. Traditional gender roles work against step families. The difficult facing some children in step families is a loss of the accustomed roles, when the oldest is now or the youngest loses their position because of step siblings. This ambiguity can be resolved with family, you say it with me, communication, or it can emerge throughout the family relationship. So what about the couple relationship of the step family? And as in many other marriages, partners in step families have a task of commitment because of a strong couple bond is the foundation of the new family. Couples in second marriages tend to be less romantic. They've learned maybe, or they are not as excitable as easily. They're more practical. They're more realistic and honest about the difficulties in a marriage. The struggle to have privacy or alone time, children issues that need attention all contribute to this. An ex-spouse can also affect the new marriage. Visitation, plans change, loyalties, money, unresolved issues from previous relationship. That's the former partner, and why emotional distancing can be so important. The fact that parent-child bond began before the marriage, not following it, can create difficulties in the relationship between new spouses. Let's move to the step-parent and step-child relationship. The relationship between step-parent and step-child is an important one for 2 reasons. First, many marriages flounder because problems in this particular relationship, so it needs attention. Second, children in step families are at high risk of developing behavioral problems. Successful step-parents accomplish those two tasks. And here they are. Develop an appropriate, affectionate relationship with each child. And secondly, establish themselves as a legitimate parental authority. Now, step-family and step-child relationships depend somewhat on the child's age and sex. Step-parents tend to be more successful with younger children who become attached more readily. More report positive relationships with boys than girls. Degree of acceptance of step-family members is often affected by loyalty issues. We alluded to the issue of discipline. Discipline is another potential area for conflict. This difference in child rearing styles. This is why communication about parenting is so important. All right, what about the relationship between stepbrothers and stepsisters? Many step siblings do not live together, since the most common pattern is for children to live with their mothers. Children expect their birth parents to consider them special and to side with them in conflicts. If one set of children visits or moves into the family home permanently, problems could arise over turf. When adolescents of both sexes are in the family, conflicts may be adapted, when adolescents from both sexes are in the family, conflict may be adopted as a way of maintaining a safe distance between them. Stepfamilies can provide one another with emotional support. Now, you can be in a stepfamily bringing children from your past relationships, but you may also bear children within the stepfamily. So let's look at children born in a stepfamily. About half of stepfamilies have a child born to them. Now, this is most common with younger mothers having a baby that is related to the stepfamily for stability. The mutual child may symbolize family peace and harmony because the birth demonstrates love and commitment of the couple. So, what kinds of effects of stepfamily living are there on children? Well, many children in stepfamilies are at greater risk of maladjustment and lower self-esteem, but do as well as those living with both biological parents. Partly as a result of role and boundary ambiguity, as a result of the life changes, also differing parenting styles can contribute to challenges of remarriage. So when we can, looking at this formation of a second family, we have to consider family adaptation. Successful stepfamilies have realistic expectations and ability to cooperate with one another. Flexibility, respect, communication, sense of humor are characteristics of this success. Creating shared family activities can be very beneficial in dealing with stressors. How family members view remarriage affects the adaptation. They may regard the new union as a second chance or an intrusion into the parent-child relationship. Others consider it a flexible family form that can be shaped to meet all members' needs. So how about where does the stepfamily fit in overall society? Well, the stepfamily in the wider society, if you look at figure 11.3 to check out some of the ways stepfamilies are different from other families. Stepfamilies have been called the incomplete institution, as it has no norms or roles for their existence. That was where the social scripts, where are they? They aren't there yet. Is there something wrong with the stepfamily? Well, with an increased number of stepfamilies, and a series of norms and roles will be more familiar, enabling stepfamilies to get off onto a positive start in the future. Other issues revolve around financial support and the role of government, and when financial responsibilities fall on the stepfamily alone, ending support and ending payments. Remarriage of the family cycle. Well, That kind of depends. Experiencing of a remarriage differs according to the life cycle stage of each partner. The greatest strain involves responsibilities to their children, especially difficult when they have adolescence. The greater the difference in the life cycle stage, the harder it is to adapt to new family because husband and wife are dealing with different life cycle issues. For example, if he is in the midlife and she's not, those midlife and child rearing sort of tasks are different. Okay, that's a quick overview of the second time around. I hope that's been helpful. I hope you find enough information, and I hope you will not necessarily find yourself there. Maybe you will, and that will be the best thing that's happened for you. All right, everybody. Good luck, and we'll see you later.